Hello, governor.
Hello.
I didn't know if you were going to follow me into that dark cave or not.
I'll leap into the abyss with you.
How we doing, boys? How we feeling?
Level 10.
Level 10.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling good too. Okay, so cool topic for this episode. Over the past few months, this is something that has kind of like organically come up a lot in all of our conversations, and I feel like it's an important thing to talk about, and it's also something that has directly applied to each of our lives in the past few months. And where did we hear this quote from first?
Terrence McKenna.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be Terrence McKenna quote.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and pull it up.
Yeah, I'd like to read the full quote.
Come on, Butterfingers.
But
I don't have a table close to me.
Tables.
It's like 3 feet away.
But
Okay.
You're being mean to me.
the premise though, the gist of the quote is that God loves courage, or nature loves courage.
Yeah, it's nature loves courage. You make the commitment, and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. It will lift you up. This is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is the shamanic dance in the waterfall. This is how magic is done by her. Cookies popped up.
Cookie.
This is how magic is done by hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a featherbed.
Which
And
is
then-
it's funny because we talked about this a long time ago on the show.
Oh, dude, like in the beginning.
Long time ago.
Literally the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it just keeps coming up organically.
Yeah. And
It's true.
I love this topic. It
Yeah.
blends a lot of my favorite things.
Explain yourself.
Luck.
What's bluck?
Luck, sorry.
You heard
Bluck.
that too. Bluck, 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 bluck. Bumbacla. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
Luck, manifestation, and that's it. Those are like my two favorite things.
Bluck, luck, and manifestation.
Luck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Making fun of me, it's getting late.
Alexander the Late. Yeah, no, it's true. It's like luck, manifestation. I don't know. I see it more as like, I don't know. I guess you could call it luck, like the universe rewarding you, or
Well, I think we should start there. You okay with that?
yeah.
What, in your opinion, let's talk about luck.
Okay.
You've been wanting to talk about this for a long time.
I've been
man.
wanting to talk about luck
You
for a
have.
long time because I don't necessarily. People who, it's proven, and it's also something that I firmly believe, that people who think of themselves as lucky are lucky.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is that manifestation? Sorry.
I guess. I mean, by definition, I guess it's some for because I mean, if you think you're lucky, then and you become lucky, or you consider yourself, then yeah, you're
Right.
manifesting.
I also think, it plays into karma. I also think that bloodlines can be lucky.
What do you mean it plays into karma?
What do you mean bloodlines can be lucky? Let's go in order there.
Okay. Because they kind of work, right? Like, I think if your family is good people and
I
they
see.
do right, and they
right.
build up years and years and generations of karmic luck or
good karma.
favorable karma,
Yeah.
that is then passed through blood.
In the Bible, they talk about generational curses, which I think is like the opposite of what you're saying, but
But
in
it's still the same, yeah.
right, same concept.
Yeah, what is a curse but the opposite of luck? You know?
Or blessing or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. I haven't thought too much about luck specifically, but I definitely think that if you think you're a lucky person, you'll probably find yourself in good fortune for sure.
I don't really believe in luck in the traditional way.
I don't know if I do either.
I don't think there's some transitory floating pool of luck that's like, oh wow, today you get a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
I don't think it works that
I
way.
tend to agree because I don't think that bad people with sour attitudes are lucky. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't think someone who leads a shitty life, for lack of better words, just
like selfish,
gets
and-
lucky out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Right. Like you've got people who are really good business people who have acquired a lot of wealth and are terrible people.
Yeah.
Like that all checks out. No luck. Right.
Yeah.
But I just like the lucky things. I do believe that like people catch a break, right? And then that's where we get into the topic. Nature loves courage, because you're struggling. You remain positive. You remain a good influence to people. You remain happy to other people. You have that courage to keep going. You could give up. You could stop.
Well, that's interesting because, okay, let's flip it on its head a little bit. What about somebody who is just like born into a family with a ton of money and they live their whole life with like no problems and like,
That's their karma.
I would say karmic luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, like to me, the idea of luck, assuming we're talking about the traditional way we understand it, right? Like,
Right.
oh, I'm lucky. I played the slots or whatever. Like on the one hand, we hear like you just said, people born into money, or like, there's billionaires who are like bad psychopathic people, but they get all this money and all this wealth, but they're bad people. It's not that they're lucky. It's that they're really smart, probably psychopathic,
manipulative,
cutthroat
yeah.
people. But like, then on the other hand, I've noticed throughout my life, and I don't know about you guys, but people who are just really nasty on the inside and out don't tend to really do well in life. You know what I mean?
Right.
They hit a ceiling, it feels like. Well, I don't know, because then you got like freaking people like Jeff Bezos, Like,
Well, it's, you can really only talk about people that you know, right? Because
Smart,
you don't
cutthroat.
know, right? That, or does the money change a person? Was Amazon in the garage? Was Jeff Bezos a really honest?
Yeah, that's true too.
That's a good point.
Was he a good dude? And then you become so. I mean, imagine how many people message you and hit you up just begging for like, or like, imagine your whole family hates you and then you hit it big and then they all come asking for money. Like that would kind of turn someone sour, I think.
No, yeah, it absolutely
Not that
would.
it excuses anything, but yeah, I could see that.
Of
Right.
course.
No, I'm not. Right. Exactly.
And
I'm
that
not
could be its
excusing
own
behavior.
That could be its own form of like karmic punishment, right? Because like it's like you think you want all the money and fame and riches in the world, and then you get it, and it's like the opposite of what you had hoped it would be.
Just like being born into a family of money
How so?
could be a karmic detriment, because I mean, you could be.
That's true.
You could have everything materialistic that you want except the love of your parents.
And be completely unfulfilled. It's a good point. I just watched White Lotus for the first time, and it's like focused around a character who is literally exactly like that. Like
a lonely rich type.
born into like one of the wealthiest families in the world.
Dude, they're a dime a dozen.
And she is like so miserable. Like
Right.
so miserable. She is completely alone, no one around her, like nobody. She's like fawning to just talk to strangers because she has nobody around her. She's completely unfulfilled. Like,
I mean, and imagine how many people just like want to be your friend for your money.
oh yeah,
No genuine connection.
Right.
and you're probably always thinking like, okay, but do these people actually care about me, or is it the money thing? That's a huge part of that show too. That's a good show.
I think about that a lot with the phenomenon thing. Not the money thing, but like, and maybe this is a little too candid of me, but like all the people listening to the show, like sometimes I get these thoughts in my head. It's like, do they really like me for who I am, or is it because I see things? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't think it matters. But
Sure.
I could see why people think that way.
Yeah.
But for what it's worth, because of this, crazy life I've lived, I have met several billionaires, and let me tell you, they are seeking just like you and me.
Yeah.
They don't got it all figured out.
No.
They just got more money.
Yeah.
Maybe a little smarter with business and things like that, but they are just as depressed and distraught and seeking a higher power, just like the rest of us.
So then what exactly is the reward for the courage? It's like, is it different for everyone?
I think about this a lot, this concept that we're talking about, the nature loves courage thing. And it's like, dude, like the simplest example that I keep coming back to in my mind is like, think about somebody who doesn't exercise at all. And it's like, want to go to the gym, but it's scary,
Yeah.
but then you just do it. You have the courage. You push through. It's uncomfortable, right? That's the part about jumping through the abyss, right?
Yeah.
You're taking the courage to take, or you're using the courage, whatever, having the courage to take action, pushing through. You're a little physically uncomfortable, but then on the other side, you rest, recover, boom, you've made progress. And I think that's like a kind of a silly, minute example that applies to everywhere in life. Like if you just do the thing that you're afraid to do, on the other side of whatever the thing is, there will be results. If you take the leap of faith and you take the job that like everyone around you is like, no, don't take that. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. But you're like, I don't know. My gut kind of tells me to do it. Do it. Boom. You're rewarded with a new circumstance in life. Or like for you, for example, oh man, moving to Wilmington, there's a million moving parts. Let's do it. You did it at the drop of a hat. Boom. Here we are. It's like when you do the scary thing, everything changes and you are completely in a new life, basically.
Yeah. It is very like magical feeling and wild and weird. And like the thing I keep wondering is like, okay, sure. Nature rewards courage. Nature loves courage. Why? Why is it important? Why is it important?
Because nature was born out of courage.
Why does it have to be that way?
What do you mean?
If you think of an evolutionary path, at its core, going all the way back, surviving has been difficult. And those who evolve and adapt and take a leap are the ones that tend to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Alex?
So nature is entirely built on this principle.
I love you for that comment. That's got me smiling.
Love you too, man.
No, that's a cool take. It's
sometimes I surprise you, huh?
Yeah, sometimes, man.
Even a blind squirrel.
Gets a nut.
I wonder. You had to finish it. You had to scratch that itch. I've wondered if it's more of like let me think about it. If it's more of like the whole reason that this like reality matrix, this like reality experiment, if you want to call it that, exists, is to experience things that can only be experienced through courage.
And discomfort.
Yes, because if you
suffering,
get the thing that you want more than anything and it doesn't really cost you anything, or it doesn't take any effort,
and you didn't gain anything.
Right. It's like,
I think you're saying is like nothing good comes from being comfortable. Like, there's no,
But in more of like, in less of a practical sense, because you hear that, right? You hear like nothing good comes from being comfortable. It's like, that makes me think of like, okay, if I just kind of live in my comforts and I just like play video games all the time and just do exactly whatever I want all the time, I'm not going to excel in life. But I'm thinking more in terms of like through a spiritual lens, like what do you learn in life?
Right.
Because like we've gone over the whole like there's no learning in heaven type thing, right? You're in paradise, which is the end goal. You're not learning anything. You're not gaining from new experiences or experiencing adversity or anything like that. So what are you gaining? That's what this part is for. This part is for you to put yourself out there and be uncomfortable and do the uncomfortable thing. And the things that you gain from doing those types of things are more than what you were even going for. Like if you have a goal,
that's a good point.
Like if you have a goal to, all right, this year I want to make $100,000 and whatever. And then you work really hard and you get that. It's like, cool. That's awesome that you had the courage to do that and you met your goal and whatever. But the true thing that you gained from it is the knowledge that you can do it.
Right.
Like you did.
I actually did a goal.
Yes.
Yeah. The feeling of the internal reward.
Yes.
Dude, I always think about it like the gym because I think it's such a practical, real life physical example that can be applied across the board. It's like, I want to go, bench 150 or something. I don't know. That's a small weight, but hit a certain goal. I want to go to the gym. I want to exercise. I want to do cardio, whatever. and you're over this hurdle of, again, I'm thinking of like a beginner mindset, like how I would imagine there's a lot of people out there who's like, this is really intimidating, you know?
Yeah, the gym is that to a lot of people.
It is.
Well,
That's why I think of that example.
You can apply it to anything, though.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for sure.
Exactly. But also the body physically adapts and it changes. But like you go to the gym, it's like, oh my God, it's intimidating. Then you do it. You push through the discomfort, which is temporary. You come out on the other side. Yes, you worked your body. But the biggest thing is, oh my God, I feel great.
Yeah.
My mind feels great. I'm in a great mood. Mm-hmm. And you get these mental benefits that translate past what you thought you would achieve.
Immediately.
You know what I mean?
That's the crazy part about it too. Is the mental benefits are immediately realized.
And I know I'm using the metaphor of going to the gym, but I'm talking about life.
I'm talking about gym specifically. Sorry.
Right. And I am too, but I'm talking about life. I'm talking about like, oh God, I want to get a new job, but blah, 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 blah. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. I'm comfortable in this job. You do it. Yes, you go through this transition phase, but then you come out on the other side and you're like, wow, I make a little more money. I'm a little more confident in my own abilities. Again, like what Nick said, I actually did this. Mm-hmm. It can be applied to anything.
For me specifically, it's the I actually did this part that is the most like gratifying and shocking. Mm-hmm.
We're having one of those right now sitting in here.
Very much so.
Right.
Yeah. Before we started recording today, I looked around at this new room and all this new equipment, which we'll show you guys at some point. We have this really, really cool.
We have a ton of new equipment.
Yeah. This really cool new setup. And it's all stuff that we like paid for from the money that we earned doing this show, which was a huge leap of faith.
Right.
For us. But we, from the start, like threw all caution to the wind and just said like, no fear is valid. Like we just did it. We never thought like, well, what if it doesn't work out? Well, what if this? Well, what if that? Like we never had any of that. It was just like, no,
it will work out.
We're doing it.
Can I interrupt you guys?
Please. Yes.
I just got a text message from, so last week we talked about the omens and the owls.
Yeah.
Olivia just texted me that she said, me and Bop. Bop is my dog. That's a nickname for my dog, Juno.
Bop.
Me and Bop just saw the owl really close up.
Wow.
No way.
Now,
which for the listener,
it's a week.
Just so you know, for the listener, it's a week. We're recording this the same. We just recorded the Omens episode. So
that's weird.
The fact that just happened is nuts. Like wild synchronicity.
Yeah, that is weird.
But anyway, for me, I am in a happier place and I am feeling more fulfilled in the last few years more than ever because I have finally started to just silence the fear and the negative. Everybody has that. I think literally, most people at least have that thing where there's some goal that you want to achieve or there's like some passion you want to pursue or whatever. And you never do it because you think about all the things that could go wrong and all the this and the that and the other. And that was me for the majority of my life. And I have many people in my life who are still stuck in that cycle. And it's like after a certain amount of time, feeling it myself and seeing the people around me not pursuing the things that they are saying they want to pursue because they're afraid of the result, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It really shatters me because like
me too.
I have firsthand experience now that like, dude, every goal that I've set in the past few years, I've been knocking them down. And it's like, it just kind of like magically happens. If you have the faith or the courage to just put one foot forward, the rest just kind of starts falling into place.
And you know what, man? I hear people tell me their dreams, and in my mind, I'm like, I hope you actually do this. Like, I hope you actually like take the steps to do this. I don't say that, you know, I don't want to discourage anyone, but I'm like, I really hope you do this.
Man, it's funny you said that because I had a conversation with a coworker recently. It was like somebody that I have literally spoken to once or twice. And for some reason, we got on the topic of like like dreams, not like dreams like when you're asleep, but like, you know, your ultimate life goals,
Right.
and stuff like that. And since I had that conversation, I've started picking up on just like the language that some people use about that kind of stuff. And I've encountered a lot of people who are like, they have that removed from them. They don't like think about dreams, and they don't think about like
It's a pipe dream.
yeah. And they don't think about like their ultimate goals, because, or if they do think about it, they talk about it as if it's completely unobtainable and it's never actually going to happen. And what's the point in even pursuing it, and like
Right.
shit like that. And to me, wouldn't you be so much more fulfilled and gratified pursuing something that, like, sure, who knows, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but like you tried.
Right.
At very, very least you tried.
I think it's better to try and fail than not try at all.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And like if you really put your best foot forward and try, and like, I don't know, in my
If you're
experience,
trying, you're not failing.
absolutely.
Right.
Like failing, like actually failing is just not trying.
Or just like giving up, quitting.
Right.
In my mind.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you try something, like you know, that's a success in itself, because it's
There's always something to take away. And that's the thing. I think people struggle with goals because they don't know, right? And so it's like, how am I going to set this huge goal if I don't know myself well enough, or if I don't know what I want to do? And I think the answer to that is absolutely just try. I mean, you know, I've worked, I'm not going to sit here and talk like an old head, like I've done everything, but every single job that had nothing to do with where I am now
yeah.
has helped me get here.
Yeah.
I've picked up skills and little things from each one that have helped. And like, I couldn't have done the next step without previously doing this one. Like, so I don't have, you know, regrets about, like, there's some of the things that I completely wasted my time and went down these streets that led nowhere.
Yeah.
But I walked down them.
Yeah.
And like, I came back and I know what those branches down that street look like. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
you just have to do. But you have to do in a sense that, like, okay, this isn't, you have to realize, right? Like, is this your passion? Yes or no? If it's no, then what do you like about what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
You take that and then you apply that to the next step, right? And you just try to get one step closer. And eventually you kind of fall into something that you're like, okay, yeah, I can do this.
Yes, that's a great point. Every step along the way is, even if you're not like ultimately finding out that like, oh, this is the thing, I really do want to continue to pursue this, and this really is my dream, and whatever. Every time you try something, you are at very least narrowing down the things that you truly love and care about, and the things that maybe you don't care about as much as you thought you did.
To add to that, what I have come to find in my life, and maybe this isn't true for everyone, but I believe that we inherently, when we do have goals and dreams, I believe that we dream really big, really, really big, and then in reality, we meet somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? Like, I think...
What's that quote? Shoot for the moon and maybe you'll land among the stars, or something like that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Like, it's I mean, I don't have an specific example off the top of my head. I mean, I could talk about people I know, but, to keep people's situations anonymous. But, yeah, I mean, I think, like, you dream really big. You just, what's important is you're taking the steps. It's like they always say, this fabled, cheesy quote, it's the friends we made along the way. Or, it's not about the destination, it's the journey.
The journey.
But, like, it is true, like,
it is.
We grow as we take the steps forward incrementally.
That's
gradual, little by little.
Yeah, that's the only thing we're here to do. We're here to have a human experience. We are souls having a human experience. So, like, it's as corny as it might sound, it's the only thing that actually matters. It's like, we're here to just experience shit.
I think if we are, like, humble about our goals, like, not just us, but, like, everyone. Like, I want to be a famous movie star. Like, okay, well, maybe that's a little bit of a unrealistic goal, you know, but, like, humble about our goals, things that are meaningful and purposeful and are fulfilling in life. And we set the expectation of, just going forward one step at a time. Like, it's just crazy what happens when you come out on the other side,
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's important to shoot as high as you can go.
For sure.
Like,
I tend to agree.
Set your sights as absolutely crazy high as you can. The thing where I think most people slip up is they set it so high that they can't see the next step. Mm-hmm. And then they never take that step.
I'm gonna run with that. I think it's a little different. I think that the goal is so high they don't humble themselves to take the step. So if your goal is to be a famous movie star in Hollywood, you can't be above community theater.
That's what I was thinking in my mind.
You can't high road the steps it takes to get there, because everybody who's been at the top has been at the bottom.
Yeah,
I was gonna
started at the bottom.
I didn't say it, but I was gonna say maybe start with theater. Right. Like start start somewhere humble.
Yes.
Right. You got to be realistic about your goals. Like not
It's just like Jim Carrey. Like his whole thing was like he like religiously manifested where he's at now in life. Like he wrote himself a check for $10 million when he was broke, and he like manifested. He saw the biggest goal that he could set. He set it, but then he did the community theater. He
took the steps.
Yes.
He put his head down, he humbled himself, and he put in the work.
Yeah.
That's the secret sauce.
I mean, dude,
it doesn't just happen.
No, we're talking about faith, right?
Right.
We're talking about faith. It's the crux of, wait, is crux the right word? What does crux mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. It's the crux of every like religion, every spiritual practice.
To take it a step further, though, we're talking about like acting on your faith, right? There's a difference.
Yeah.
Not passive faith.
No, right. Well, yeah. It's like there's acting on your faith, but then I think there's also actively having faith.
Well, it's like, for example, something I struggle with all the time, freaking out about XYZ situation in my life. Freaking out, anxious. Oh my God, I got this new house. How am I going to pay the bills? Just every little scenario in my mind. God's going to take care of me, but oh my God, I'm still freaking out.
Yeah.
That's passive faith. The active faith is like, no, I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to understand that it's okay to have an unknown in my near future. Have the faith that, like, first of all, my ability to do what I need to do to take care of everything here. Second of all, like I said, when you have dreams and goals and faith and, XYZ, God, the universe, reality, whatever is going to meet you halfway. Mm-hmm. Do what I can on my end, the measly, humble human end, to stop flipping out.
Yeah.
And try to calm down and understand, okay, look, this is unknown, this is uncomfortable, and that is okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
Active faith.
Yeah, and like the universe is going to meet you every step of the way. Every step that you
take.
Yes. Every step you take.
Oh, come on now. Get to me, baby.
It's true. You set a super high goal, right? And then you're like, if you just say like, God, I want to be a freaking movie star, make me a movie star tomorrow. It just doesn't happen that way. But if you envision the next step in reaching that goal, and you say like, I have faith that the universe or God is going to provide that for me, and like, lay down the road to that. If you have faith, active faith, I'll just share the way that I practice active faith, which is new for me. Well, I guess I used to do that when I was younger, but I'm finding it again. Is I have a goal. I think about the next step of that goal, and I ask God for help, and then I imagine the feeling. Like I try to wash myself in the feeling of what that will be like when I achieve that next step.
That's like manifestation 101 too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like the first rule. It's like
Right, yes. Like trying to make yourself feel, what is it going to feel like when I achieve that or when I get that?
And then when you bathe in that, then you let it go.
Yes, exactly. Because to me, like I have to have that palate cleanser, or those feelings are just going to linger on me, and I'm just going to, like, I could say I have faith that it's going to be better, but if I still have those lingering feelings.
So that tends to be what my daydreams are, and what my thoughts before going to sleep are.
Really?
Are forward thinking in my life, like what's the plan, what are the goals, what are the achievements, and then seeing myself live that life.
So then, what are some examples of you being, or both of you being rewarded with being courageous?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell my kind of employment story, I guess. So go back in time. I'm sure I've talked about it on here before. 2023. At the beginning of 2023, I made myself a promise. I said by the end of this year, I am going to learn something new. Like absolutely out of my wheelhouse, something I've never done before. I took my, I had to take my boat in for service. I got my boat out. I got the bill. I was like, jeez. Okay. So I started looking up, my motor, and then I found a class at the local community college. I said, this is it. Here it is. I'm going to go take this class. Hopefully I can learn how to service my motor, and I'll never have to pay this bill again. Like
that was the goal?
That was the goal.
Oh, wow.
I promised myself I was going to do something new, and here's a good reason. Like here,
I didn't know any of that.
Absolutely practical. Let's do it.
I don't think I did either.
I signed up for this class. Class started in June, and the end of June, and come the beginning of June. I mean, sorry. Let me keep telling this story. Signed up for the class. I'm continuing to work, have this work from home job, and it's just not for me. I'm miserable. I'm in a foul mood all the time. I'm not taking care of myself. Like, it's just not working out. Yeah. And I feel so stuck. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Constantly talking to my coworkers about quitting, finding a new job, blah, blah, blah. And I basically, a week before school started, I got fired.
Right.
So I get fired. I'm like, okay, well,
cosmic timing.
At least I have this school to go to, right? I've already paid for that and everything. It's all set in place. And I was fortunate enough to be able to take some time off. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to stress about it. My favorite part is I called my fiance and I said, hey, I got fired. And she said, good.
Damn.
Good.
Man.
That's a real one.
I'm tired of dealing with you. No, she's like, you're not happy. You're in a foul mood all the time. Good.
For the listener, just soak that in.
Yeah, it's.
I'm tired of dealing with you.
I've said. Well, maybe the other part, but yeah.
Honestly,
she's a brave woman.
That's a real one.
Straight up.
That's real support.
No, so because I'm kind of like, I didn't like the job, but I also don't like being fired. Right. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you fired me,
fault, bro. Like we don't have to go into the nitty gritty of it.
But
that was not your fault.
But it's divine timing. It doesn't matter. It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
It's still rejection.
So she said good, and I said, you know what? Good. And I looked myself in the mirror and I said, good. This is good. And I called my buddy. I said, yo, man, I've got no excuse to not be in the gym tomorrow. I said, laid it out. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, nah, don't be sorry. It's good. And it started for the next 2 months, hit the gym, was in school at night. I'm in school and I'm like, holy cow, there's an entire career here. Start hitting the shop in school, start learning, digging into it. And I'm like, man, this is really cool stuff. Like, I'm excited, right? So I'm going to school for this. I'm lying in bed thinking, man, I like these little boat motors. I like what I'm doing, but I want to work on big boats. I want to work on yachts. I want to be on these big, massive $1 million boats. And I'm lying there asleep thinking, how am I going to work on these boats? How am I going to work on these boats?
That's the key. You're falling asleep in the theta state.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You hypnotize
and every
yourself.
night I'm sitting there thinking, man, I want to be on these big boats. And talking to a buddy who worked for this guy I work with now, back a couple of years ago, I said, yo, put me in touch. I had no clue what he did. I had no clue. All I knew is my buddy would install sound systems on boats and stuff, like electronics on boats, right? Turns out I'm working on essentially yachts for people. And now all I do is work on big boats.
Yeah. It sounds like to me the initial courage, the initial like thing that you had to overcome was when you lost your job, like transfiguring that into a positive.
That's a big part, but I also think the actual just courage of pushing myself to do something brand new.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
that's where
sure.
I think it got kicked off.
But it's like that first bit where you lost your job was like the test. It was like, are you gonna let this bury you?
Are you gonna get into the old pattern?
Right. Are you gonna? Yeah. Because for me, I lost my job and I kind of did let it bury me a little bit. I was not thinking positively about it. Started working with my brother for a while and whatever. And then, I've told the story. The apartment rent goes up $300 overnight. And then at this point, I hadn't like prayed to God in like a decade, probably. And I think that the courageous thing for me was like reaching out with my faith and like having the courage to, as uncomfortable as it felt and as not sure about it as I felt, I just said like, you know what, I'm just gonna pray out loud anyway, and just choose to believe, even though I'm not feeling very positive at all.
Just give it to God.
Yeah, literally, like just choose to believe that it's gonna work itself out and it's not gonna be a worry. And minutes later, I got into my brother's truck, and he was basically like, hey, I know a guy who has a place for you to live for way cheaper. And I was like, that it was eerie minutes after. And I had this whole internal debate of like, am I really going to like pray to God? Like, I don't even know how, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't have positive feelings towards the act of doing that. Like, I haven't done that in forever. This wasn't like a passive. I was actively thinking this stuff like, I don't know. That's I don't know. And then I talked to Casey. She was freaking out, super stressed. And I just decided to do it. And immediately it was rewarded. And like that has been the past year and a half of my life, is being faced with something really rough, having the courage to give it to God, pray about it, take one foot and put it in front of the other, and then boom, it just falls into place immediately. Countless times, I can't explain, countless times I've been faced with something. I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to get past this. And then I pray and boom, it's done. It's gone.
Yeah. You know what, like I've been thinking about a lot, and especially like really leaning into the reincarnation thing. I can't help. I keep coming back to this video game levels analogy in my head, that every life is a new level, and that I do think it's possible to get knocked down a level, but I do think it's really hard. So I think you're operating at this level, whatever, and your goal is to get to the next level, right? And you basically have to lead a good life to do that, or learn from this life to do that. And every time you're kind of given a different set of tools and a different, obviously different body, different set of circumstances, you have a different set of things that you are going to experience. But then when you tell stories like when you just told, I just think of like playing video games or Grand Theft Auto or whatever. When you know what the goal is, it's easy to figure out. And when you're going through the way that the game wants you to play it, the walls keep falling down in front of you. Like, it's easy to play. You know what I mean?
That's
because
really
you
good point.
know what you're doing.
And it gives it to you one step at a time.
Right.
It's not like you don't turn the game on and then fight the final boss.
Right.
You do one level at a time.
Yeah.
One little quest at a time.
It presents you with the problem, you find the solution. It presents you.
I pulled up a post that's perfect timing with this. I had this up for a few minutes, but I saw this post the other day, and it says the universe will put you in the same situations over and over again until you learn. It's a video, so to react differently, until you learn to think differently. Let me see if I can fast forward a little bit. Until you learn that, come on now, old habits. Stop pausing. Old habits don't open new doors. You have to eliminate in order to evolve. So that rings true to me. It's like,
that's the courage.
Exactly. They say the definition of insanity is like doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. But I do feel like that's true. Like when we keep having these like crisis points in our life, it's like we're being tested. And I think on the subtle level, it's like, hey, are you going to fall into the old pattern?
Right.
Or are you going to evolve? and think differently and rise above it. It's like what I was explaining or what you were explaining earlier. Like, just, I've never had panic attacks in my life until last week. I just started having panic attacks about this whole house situation.
Really?
Oh, dude, I had to get in the car and drive away. And it's been 8 weeks of just chaos, living in a half-gutted house on air mattresses everywhere. 7 people staying here doing work. I mean, doing a podcast schedule. I mean, it's been insane. It's been insane. And I started having these panic attacks like, dude, like, what the fuck am I going to do, about all of this? It's been a lot. And I started thinking, like, you know what? It's going to be okay. Like, it has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. Literally, it has to be. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot slip into that old pattern because my childhood was always so much crisis with, XYZ happening. And I mean, everybody knows the story. And because of trauma or PTSD or whatever, the second something goes bad, my mind is like fight or flight mode.
It's falling apart. Everything's falling apart. It's over.
Dude, I mean, every house I ever had up until I was like 24, we lost and we had to suddenly, move out of. And, here I am buying a house like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to keep it. I'm going to lose it just, like every other time in my life. All these scenarios running through my head. And I'm thinking about this stuff. I'm like, no. It's a test. It's got to be uncomfortable to grow into a good situation. And based on what you were saying earlier, when you were like having the courage to admit that you were thinking like, oh my God, I don't feel good about praying to God. In my experience, I have noticed, just being somebody who talks about God a lot because of all this stuff going on in the background, the phenomenon, and, growing up in church. I mean, we've always talked about God. It's always been on
my whole life
subject. Yeah. I mean, we've just always been around the subject. And in my experience, I feel like most people are afraid of God and not why you would think. I think that people are afraid of God because they, deep down in the recesses of their mind, they know that something is there. But they interpret it through like the mainstream lens of, like how they see Christians act or, Muslims or so-and-so, and they see all these rules and regulations and like it's so daunting to get into one of these ritualistic systems that it's like, whatever. And they probably think in the back of their mind, they're being judged because they don't adhere to this system or that system, and they just don't want to deal with it at all. And it's easier to just shun. Isn't it easier, like when someone's talking shit about you behind your back, to not try to like make peace with them, but just like, do it back, Well, bro, you know what I mean?
Bro, it's always easier to do nothing. Like, it's always easier to either do nothing or go low. It's always easy.
Right.
But it's not rewarding.
But what I was going to say is I believe that it's the opposite of how most people see it. And like to connect with God, to connect with, the spirits, the spirit world, it's not about like being in this system or that system or being perfect or doing the right thing. It's about humbling yourself and being like, okay, I need help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I need help. Like,
yeah,
I've got something going on that I can't figure out right now. And there's all these parables. It's like, people were like throwing stones at these women and prostitutes and like lepers and beggars and all these people. And Jesus is like, what's the matter with you guys? And he's like having dinner with them and hanging out with them. And he's being like, my God is their God. You know what I mean? For the broken, for the poor, not for the freaking perfect, not for the Christian, not for the Hindu. God is for everyone.
And it's
the broken.
Yeah.
The sinners.
Yes.
The bad people.
Yeah. It's interesting how you'll hear people say that, like, God loves everyone the same until it's inconvenient for people to think that way. And a lot of times people don't even really understand what that means. Like, I was talking to my dad one time, and this wasn't too long ago, just a couple of years ago. We were in the kitchen just talking about God and faith and that kind of stuff. And it was not by any means a debate. Like, we don't do that, like, especially when it comes to religion and God. We're just having like a genuine conversation that includes questioning things and whatever. And, we were talking, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, what do you feel about a terrible person who abuses like children? Like, do they deserve the love of God? And like, why could a man who like murders a child or something horrible like that why does he deserve to be redeemed, or why does he deserve, the same treatment and love and all this stuff? And he was like, well, I have 3 kids, and if one of them did something horrible like that, I couldn't help but love them anyway.
Dude, I see videos of murderers on trial, and their parents don't want them to go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, could we imagine a higher mind? There's
Right.
parts to this we don't understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe they're not worthy of redemption, but I mean, come on. Like, everybody in some way is worthy of love. In some way.
Absolutely.
Because if not, then love is conditional for everyone.
It's conditional, and also, I mean, that it would depreciate the value of love to think that everyone doesn't deserve it.
Right.
Like, it's everything. Love is truly everything. Like, it's the most powerful feeling that you can experience in this realm. It's the most important thing that you can experience in this realm.
I think it's the binding force of the universe. And
It's fundamental.
like, yeah, literally. And, they're kind of hinting at that in Interstellar.
Oh,
It's the force that, like, reaches
That's
across time and space.
so crazy.
You know?
I was talking to a coworker today about Interstellar. That's crazy you said that.
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
But it always happens after the fact for you, right?
Look,
Right.
Look, it just happened again.
But or during.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a fundamental force that binds the whole universe together. And like, people could be like, okay, well, where's your proof? Well, first of all, I don't have any, right? I have.
First of all, through God, all things are possible. So,
So jot that down.
Jot that down. I don't have proof. I don't need proof to believe that. You know what I mean? But secondly,
The proof is all around us.
yeah, I mean, there are some really interesting things. Like, for example, we go into the solfeggio tones, and it is scientifically proven that 528 hertz literally is the resonant vibration of the color green all throughout nature and the universe. The rays from the sun. My dad was made privy to some research by NASA scientists that they literally are measuring that the sun, everybody thinks it's this big yellow orange ball, but it has green light coming from it as well.
It's got all colors.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they have literally measured that there is this green light that is coming from the sun to Earth, and it is encoding all life to grow. And what does it resonate with? 528 hertz. Also, the ancient Hindu rishis and sages, they would get into these trances and they would meditate. That's how they discovered the chakras and the colors. They did it through meditation.
Right.
And they intuited, the heart chakra, it's the color green. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there is a case that could be made that, like, green, as we, associate it with the heart and love and the resonance of openness and harmony and unity, we can look at, by the way, chlorophyll in plants. Mm-hmm. Green, 528 hertz, resonates with 520 hertz. So, I don't have proof, but I think, like, if we pulled apart reality thread by thread, we would ultimately discover that love is the binding force of the universe.
Yeah. And I mean, you can even go way, way simpler than that and just look at, like, every human being you've ever known in your entire life. Like, you see what happens to someone when they are deprived of love,
right,
like, through their life. It changes them for the worst.
It can mentally handicap children in third world countries. There's legitimate psychological studies of this that we had to learn in college.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in third world countries, there could be orphan children that are, like, in, I guess, orphanages or something.
Yeah.
And children in that scenario, very low to no income, impoverished, just being cradled and shown love, develop better and more normal than the children who are emotionally neglected. And actually, in many cases, those children can come out mentally handicapped.
Absolutely. And they're showing that things like ADHD come from that. Like, a lot of neurological issues stem from the first 6 years of life and the amount of, like, love and nurturing that children get in that time. Like,
right.
Just look at that alone. Like, look at the way that you feel being loved and nurtured by the people around you. Like, it is, I mean, and the flip side of it is grief. Look at when you lose someone that you love. It is truly the worst feeling that a human being can experience. There's
right.
there's nothing worse There is nothing worse than losing someone that you love. That's the truest, most concentrated version of love, because it's like you're trying to pour all of your love into something that's no longer there, and you feel the bounce back of it. And like that grief is actually just the flip side of all of the love that you have for that. Like I truly believe it is the strongest and most important feeling that any being in this universe can experience. Dude, fucking plants die if you if you talk shit to them, and then they flourish if you speak love into them. Like,
same with water molecules when you
Yes.
freeze them. I mean, dude, it's like literally if we pull reality apart thread by thread, we're gonna find out that it literally is the binding force of the universe. It is the force, dude.
Yeah.
And the lady, when she appeared to my dad, if this is news to you, 100 and what is this, 150?
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo! Woo! If this is news to you at 150 episodes into the show, time warp back to episode 17, listen to it again, listen to the regression transcript of what dad said, the lady said to him pretty much verbatim. And she said, I am the manifestation of love. There are love and fear, only love and fear. And I've pondered that. That was 12 years ago? Yeah, it's 2024.
Yeah.
That was 12 years ago. She appeared in 2012. And I've thought about that for 12 years now. And I've thought about it like, and law of attraction, right? We think about our souls as they're like the celestial bodies of the universe. It's all, the planets are geomagnetic attraction and repulsion and gravity and how they move through space, right? Mm-hmm. I think of love as like metaphorically the attractive force of the universe, right? You love people, it brings them to you, it binds you together, you experience wonderful memories and bonds, and it even creates life. I mean, you can create life without love too, we know that, but you know what I mean. And then fear is like the repulsing force of the universe. Any sort of negative emotion that we have, I mean, Yoda said it best. Come on now. Like fear leads to hate, hate leads to anger, anger leads to, it starts with fear. If you're, if you attack somebody, if you're insecure about something, if you lie, all those negative vibratory actions that you commit stem from fear in some way. If we boil it, and it repels you from other souls, other people. It's attraction and repulsion. If we think about ourselves like as above, so below, we're like the microcosm of the great celestial forces of the universe. It's all attraction and repulsion. It's all this beautiful dance of the stars and the planets, attracted to each other, roaming through the universe. But I think love is the thing that attracts everything.
Which is interesting because
everything good.
Because what is courage if not just like overcoming fear? It's overcoming the opposite of the thing that binds the entire universe, which is love. The opposite of that is fear. When you're sunk in fear and surrounded in fear and controlled by it, what are you going to gain? What are you going to get? You're fearing things that have yet to come, that haven't happened. But when you persevere through that, the love of the universe or the love of God rewards you. It's almost like a reminder or an example, like, all right, you skirted the fear. That's the true point. It's like that's what the message is from the universe. It's like, hey, that thing that you just did by like getting through your fear, getting over your fear, like that's what I want. That's what you're here to do. That is right. Exactly what you're here to do. And here's your reward for that.
Makes me think of the mustard seed.
Oh, yeah.
Where your little mustard seed is getting over that little bit of fear, showing that courage, and then just the full-blown love of God is given to you.
Yeah. No, it's everything, man. And the wild thing is, to me, is like, yes, I mean, as much as I've experienced this kind of like overcoming fear and being rewarded, it's still, I have to actively remind myself to keep that in the forefront of my mind, which I find to be a struggle. Like, why am I still having to try and remind myself of that when I've been so like thoroughly blessed for being courageous? Why do I have to keep reminding myself to be courageous? That's the hard part for me. And that's something that I feel like I'm Like that's part of my journey is to overcome that.
Yeah.
It's tough for me, but I mean, that's okay. Like that's what life is. It's overcoming challenges.
I mean, you're just kind of speaking to, like, there's definitely two sides to this war. You know what I mean? Like it's not that it's easy.
Yeah.
If it was easy, there would be no courage. It's the adversary in this war is powerful. The fear is powerful. And I'm not,
It's
I'm
also
not taking the
natural.
side of the fear.
It's natural.
I'm not vouching for the fear, but yeah, it's natural. It's hardwired. And it's a real adversary.
And it's seductive.
It's like you said, we're not in paradise where, we have nothing to learn, or however you said it, like we're in the place where we're supposed to learn. And yeah, dude, I think like it is about constantly, I don't know that it's like ever really easy. Like I think for whatever reason we are that way at a base level because the stars aligned and forces in the cosmos that exist, whether we were born here or not, decided that the specific conditions of your being manifesting here, you're going to be this way. Mm-hmm. You're going to be this way. And your lot in life is to figure out how to push through this, right? It's not, I mean, dude, you're 29. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Imagine when you're 60. Maybe it'll be a different story. Maybe you'll have figured it out. Right?
Yeah. I don't know that there is. I think figuring it out is rare.
Right.
I think it's very
many are called, but few are chosen.
Right. I think
that's the metaphor for going to heaven, right?
Yes.
Being in paradise,
like reaching enlightenment.
Right.
Like it's rare.
Rare.
It's rare. I think those who have reached enlightenment, those are the ones who figured it out.
I don't think it's like what is taught by Jehovah's Witness or Mormons or like some sections of Christianity, like there's 144,000 elect people that are going to go to heaven.
Right.
Like, no. I think it's what we are saying. Like, I just think the reality is that it is extremely difficult to reach enlightenment in this base material world that doesn't encourage that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like
it's a daily path.
Yeah.
We're walking the narrow path.
Yes. That stuff does not come naturally to most people.
Right.
To the vast majority of people.
I think it's extremely difficult even before the societal programming and basically spiritual war that's waged on us now in the modern age.
It's always been there.
You think?
I know.
It's always been difficult.
Since the times of Babylon, it has always been.
I guess you're right.
Dude, I mean, come on. They have like the ziggurats and they're sacrificing people with their rituals and priests all the way back in the times of Babylon and the Aztecs. I mean, this has always been what it is today. They just didn't have TikTok and income tax.
Yeah, the Mesopotamians were cutting out livers and shit,
and reading their lobes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always been like this.
No, I agree because I think that is the whole purpose of this place.
Right.
It's always been like that because that's the point.
Right.
It's hard.
I think that the priestly ruling class we have today is the same one from back then. They're just covert, and they got all this moolah. They figured out in the 1500s, the Rothschilds are like, hey, dude, we could create like a banking system.
Yep.
And figured out how to hoard it and 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 rule for generations with all this endless
Not only
money,
hoard it, create money out of nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. And skirt paying taxes, but then raise our tax.
Yep.
All this evil stuff that they do. I mean, it's the same group.
Yeah.
It's the same group.
Yeah.
It's the same struggle.
It's the ones that take the shortcut through. It's almost like living in fear, and rather than having courage and overcoming the fear, you're almost like playing the game of fear.
Yeah.
You're playing into it, like rather than doing things, because it's courageous to do things the right way, right?
Right.
It's like not the easy way, the right way. Doing things the easy way is not courageous. It's not. And yes, you can gain a lot of materialistic things by doing things the easy way. Like, there's tons of, I mean, people who have become multi-millionaires off of like scams, like doing literal, like scamming people directly out of their money. Like
it always catches up to them.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It always catches up to them. And yes, they gain materialistic things. They even gain what they perceive as power in this realm, because in this day and age, like, money is power and material is power,
I think love is power.
that's the truth.
Right.
And you don't get that stuff by taking the shortcuts.
Right.
You don't get it by doing things the easy way. Because, like, sure, yeah, you made a shitload of money and all this stuff, but, like, everybody around you probably hates you.
Yeah. Or you hate them.
Yeah, because you screwed everyone around you out of money and, like, out of, their livelihood and whatever. Like, that, but stepping on other people's heads to get above or to whatever, like, climb the ladder, like, you're burning bridges. You are isolating yourself further and further and further. And that's just burying you deeper in the well of fear.
Yeah.
Deeper and deeper and deeper, because it's a vicious cycle. You're afraid, so you feel like you have to do all these, you get whatever means necessary to get what your goal is or whatever. But in reality, you're pushing the real important things away. And there's always that moment, like you said, it always comes back to bite them. There's always that moment where you'll realize, like, oh damn, I was chasing the wrong things. Mm-hmm. That's not actually fulfilling.
I wanted to come back to the luck thing too. I meant to say this earlier, but I think, like, the traditional understanding of luck implies that there are not forces on the other side always aware of what is happening in our lives. Because, like, oh, I got lucky. That's like I randomly had this raise of my ability to strike good chance with achieving something. But I think in reality, like, there are always forces behind the veil in the spirit world that are literally 100% of the time monitoring every single thing that we do, every choice we make, every emotion we feel, every thought we have, and are pulling strings to manipulate situations in our life for us to have these lessons, for us to reach certain outcomes. It's like it meets us halfway. I don't believe in random luck.
Yeah.
Period.
I think luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And that you are the preparation half and they are the opportunity half.
I think it sounds like what a lot of people confuse as luck is just karma.
Yeah.
It's just karma.
Yeah.
You were selflessly nice to somebody, or you did something out of the kindness of your heart or whatever, and then an indeterminate amount of time later, you're blessed with something, and you probably don't even make the connection,
dude,
or whatever.
My dad has the perfect story for what you're describing, and I don't want to tell it because I want him on one day to tell it. But this story is unbelievable, and it's exactly what you're explaining.
Well, come on, just hit me with it.
No.
Oh.
I do not have the camera on myself.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Thanks.
Why?
Because I'm absolutely lounged.
That's okay. Show the people.
I love this chair.
Show the people.
Yeah,
how
I want them to
lounged
see you lounged.
Yeah. All right.
It's a great sight from over here.
Give it to them.
They saw it.
We'll put it back on it. Let's all see it.
All right.
Let's all just take a minute.
Look at him lounging.
Let's all just
Look at him.
Lean back.
It's the green room lounge.
Lean back. Now lean back.
Inversely to what you were saying, I think, you could say, well, what about, some jackass that goes and wins $1 million in the lottery? Again, there are subtle forces that we don't understand on the other side. And I think sometimes the inverse is true, and bad people happen upon these great circumstances because it's a lesson in life to see if they're going to fall into those old patterns or if they're going to do the good thing.
Yeah, and
it's
also
karma.
Also, they could be given those things because it was what their, like, heart desires, and then they're given it to show them, like, this is not really what you wanted.
Yeah,
because
it's a lesson.
Yeah, how many stories have you heard of people winning the lottery and then their life just completely falls apart?
Do you know anybody that's won the lottery?
I not personally, no.
My sister does.
Really?
Yeah.
Like actual big money lottery?
Yes.
Wow.
I don't want to reveal who she is.
Yeah, don't know. I'm not asking that. I'm
someone who reached out to us through this stuff. I mean, people are aware of us all over the world.
For a minute, I was kind of thinking it just wasn't real.
No, it's real. It's very real. Trust me.
The lottery? You're thinking that the lottery wasn't real?
No, it's real, man.
Yeah. No, dude, I've heard so many stories of people who, like, were desperate to, win the lottery and whatever, and they won it, and I mean, it seems to happen. I bet you if we looked up a statistic, more often than not, winning the lottery like ruins people's
Dude,
lives.
it's like if you sit around just wishing you would get a windfall of money without doing anything to earn it except buying tickets at the gas station, like I couldn't imagine you would be responsible with it when it actually appears in your lap. You've never managed money well.
Right, exactly. That's like all I think it is. You go from 0 to 100 and you'd have no money management.
Woohoo! And blow it.
You have no and you have nobody to ask. Like
Right.
you need, like if you come into a large sum of money, you need to talk to people that have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like if you want to actually keep it,
Yes.
you need to make friends or find a mentor that has substantially more money than you.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I really appreciate having met billionaires, being around people and observing, their habits and their attitudes and things. I feel like in some way it teaches me, like we talk all this truth, in my opinion, truth about how like one of the core problems of the world is money, right? These psychopathic billionaires and God forbid, Rothschild trillionaires and all these dynasty families that are centuries old. That's real. Mm-hmm. That is true. But on the other hand, I'm not saying like, we shouldn't have money. Like I wish everybody had money. I wish we didn't have a system where money was a crutch. Right. I wish everybody had the freedom to do whatever they wanted and not need to sit around and think about money. Like I wish we were in some utopia where everybody had unlimited resources. I'm not saying, it's bad to have a lot of money. I don't want people to get that understanding.
No, of course, yeah.
But the reality is our system is fucked.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a small group of people in the world
who have all the money.
Who actually have all the money.
Yeah.
Don't really allow the majority to have any.
Right.
Skirt paying taxes and raise our tax, and just crush us financially. And, I'm not saying you shouldn't have money or feel bad if you have money. I want to make that clear. But
oh, yeah.
I like money.
Yeah, sure.
It lets me have freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's like you got to earn it. The people who just
toil.
Like. Yeah. Yes. You have to have the courage to try and get it. And, For some people, that's the reward, and for others, the reward is something completely different. But I believe that whatever you are rewarded with, it is exactly what you need.
Yeah,
it's what it's what your soul needs. For whatever reason, you're rewarded with. The universe is going to give you exactly what you truly need
and what you asked for. Again, it's like we have these big dreams, and then we're met somewhere in a realistic middle.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, cool. Good shit, boys.
Good shit, man.
In summary, be courageous. Like, you guys out there looking at us in this room.
Do it!
Do it! You're looking at us in this room. At one point, this was our dream. Like, this felt like a huge, daunting thing that, like, okay, but realistically, like, this is a lot. Are we actually going to do this? And
how many times have you said one day when we have a studio?
Yes.
One day when we have a studio?
Yes. It's probably dozens and dozens of times we've talked about, like, man, when we have a dedicated studio in a room, like.
It's pretty crazy that we do.
We're here. Yeah. We had the courage to put one foot in front of the other. And you, every single person listening and watching, do it. Whatever it is. Like, I know it sounds like it might be easier said than done, but it's not. Put one foot in front of the other. Just do whatever the thing is. If it's on your
heart,
do
something to get you closer.
Yes, anything. Whatever's on your heart, whatever you are passionate about, whatever you want your life to become, have the courage and just try, because you will be rewarded.
What I mean when I say like humble about your goals, not doing something to be recognized by others or achieve a certain status or whatever, but like doing things to enrich yourself, to fulfill yourself, to feel accomplished within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not doing anything for anyone else. You're doing it for you.
Yes, be honest with yourself and like really dig deep to learn what it is in your heart that you really truly desire for yourself, what you're really truly passionate about, what your actual dreams are. Not like your convenient dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Not like your I'd love to do this thing and make a bunch of money so that like I don't have to worry about paying bills or whatever. Like that's not a passion. That's like a practical goal, which has its place too. But like, I'm talking about your dream, like your ultimate life. Picture the best version of your life, the most fulfilled version of your life that you could possibly imagine, and do it right now.
I want to add just a touch to that. Your perfect outro. I'm going to ruin it.
That's okay.
Don't get wrapped up in that perfect dream being one job. And what I mean by that is my goal has nothing to do with my career.
Right, yeah.
Like my goal in life that I've set and talked to Olivia about has absolutely zero to do with any type of job. Mm-hmm. But the job that I take has to fit to make this goal a reality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the goal is completely separate. What do you want? What do you want at the very end of your life to not like one day you're going to be sitting looking back and you're going to be like, damn, I wish I would have done this. Mm. Do that.
Do that thing.
Do that
Always
thing.
do that thing. Yeah, that's a great point. Like picture that. Picture yourself, 30, 40, 50 years from now.
And I realize I'm being vague, and I'll just kind of say it because it really doesn't matter. But my personal goal is that I want to have a job or career where I can bring my kids to work with me and it not be a problem.
I love that.
I just want to have that kind of family where the kids are not a hindrance. It's not we have to stop our life for the kids. It's the kids come along with our life.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal. I don't care what it is that I have to do, but it's like if I have to bring you in today, tomorrow, whatever, it's possible. No one can tell me I can't bring my child in to work with me and give them something to do. That's the goal. That's like the type of father.
Well, let's share our goals. Let's inspire people and share our goals. My goal that I've determined, I've thought endlessly about it, and I've landed on this, that my goal is to create things, create art and stories and pieces of content, and support my life through that. And it's already begun to be achieved. I want to go even further with it and further and further. And I want to, I want the things that I create to support me and my family. That's my goal. That is my dream. That's my dream life.
Yeah, mine is, obviously all of that because we're doing it and we're doing most of that together. Mm-hmm. But I guess my main goal would be just like helping people find God. Mm-hmm. Like that's my one goal in life. Helping people be aware of this stuff and aware of the phenomenon, the message, the beings, everything that's happening, and just spreading it to as many people as possible.
That's amazing. I think we're all like already beginning to see our goals manifesting and like becoming real. Like you're already doing that.
Right.
I'm already doing that. You're already on the path. Like we're doing it. Like, and it's because we have had the courage to go after it. And we should be proud of ourselves. And everybody out there, be proud of yourself too, and do it. Do the thing.
That's right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Guys.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, check out our other videos.
And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. See you next week. Peace.